Hey viewers, my name's Cara. It's really sunny on my porch right now, which is why I wanted to do a video, but also why it's going to be a little difficult. But my phone wasn't charged earlier in the day, and by the time it was done charging so I could record using it, the sun is directly in my face, and I could wait about another hour until it moves, but I want to take advantage of the motivation while I have it, because that's been really difficult for me lately. So I could sit like this the entire time, and then when the sun moves, we can slowly move with it. Or what we're gonna do is this. And we're gonna tell people that it's because I'm really cool and not because there's horrible lighting inside my house, and so I prefer natural light, and it just happens to be sunset right now. So very sunny. That's what we're gonna go with, okay? So in this video, I want to talk about my tarot and oracle decks that I have been using the most right now. So I'm still tempted to try to stay in this shadow here, but we'll see how it goes. So I told my patrons, my supporters on patreon.com/cutewitch772 that I was thinking about doing this as my video topic for this past week, because it's a little bit late, so technically it's last week's video, this past weekend's video, and they really liked the idea, so I was like, well, now I have to do it, right? So something they also said would be interesting is to hear about the different personalities of my decks and why I am more drawn to working with each of these ones right now, or why I have specifically chosen to be working with them right now during quarantine, during pandemic, all of this stuff. However, unfortunately, most of the decks that I've chosen to talk about that I've been using the most lately, it's not really because of their personality, it's mostly because most of them are newer decks for me, and so for some reason right now, I am being drawn to do more work with my decks that I haven't done a lot of work with yet, so I'm getting to know them more. And so the first one, they're in no particular order as far as like how much I've been using them, but the first one I want to bring up because it's super relevant right now. Okay, hello? There's like a motorcycle or something going down my street just now. Sorry if that was loud. My neighbors are loud also. That's another thing that's like, because of the lighting in my house, I prefer natural light to record my videos. So that means during daylight hours, right? That makes sense. And during daylight hours, all my neighbors are outside making noise. The people who live right next door to us literally have like a wood shop in their backyard. So sometimes they're just sawing wood while I'm like preparing to do my Tuesday Pagan Perspective videos and stuff. So that might be an issue tomorrow when I do my collab video. I'm recording this on Monday. So we'll see. But anyway, it's relevant. My newest deck it just came in this past week, is the Spacious Tarot. In the shadow. The book is by Carrie Mallon. The art is by Annie Ruygt. I don't know if I'm saying Annie's last name correctly. It is spelled Ruygt. So Ruygt is my best approximation of what I think it is. I love the box. When you open it up, it says this space is for you. This is the Spacious Tarot, so that makes sense. It's all about space. And right here what you see is the card that I pulled for today, and it is the Three of Pentacles, which in this deck is showing interconnected roots of trees. These are actually aspen trees. It represents Pando, the community of aspen trees that are all interconnected by their roots, so they're actually considered a single living organism. They're in Utah, which is where the deck creators are from. Pando is in Utah. They are. Anyway, so this card is about connection and community and, weaving networks, weaving connections. So it kind of makes sense that I drew this on the day that I planned to talk to you about the decks that I've been connecting with more. So anyway, that's my newest deck, and the main reason that I've been using this one so much recently is that I just got it. My partner actually got it for me as an anniversary gift because I had seen it through Katie Flowers and Aquamarine 18, Laura, who both backed the deck, I believe, on Kickstarter, and I found out about it through them, or maybe one of them found out about it later as well. I don't remember. You'd have to ask them. But I heard about it through Katie's Patreon community, which I am in, and so is Laura. And so I started checking it out. I follow Spacious Tarot on Instagram. I really enjoyed the look of it, and I decided that I'd really like to have a first edition of it. I don't really have that many indie decks, things like that. I've never backed something on Kickstarter or another type of thing like that. So I've never backed a deck or pre-ordered it in that way. And when I found out that they were almost sold out of their first edition decks, I just thought that would be something that I would really like to have, but it's a little out of my budget right now, especially since right now some of my streams of income aren't happening, as I'm sure is also true for many of us out there. But my partner, luckily their job is providing some emergency pay, which is how we are still able to pay our basic bills, so thank goodness for that. So they decided to go ahead and get it for me as a gift. It's definitely a splurge, not something that we spend a lot on a regular basis. So that's my newest deck, and that's why I've been working with it a ton, is I'm still just getting to know it. I'm mainly just doing one card draws, daily draws with this deck right now. Another one that I've been using a lot this month in particular, since my cat passed away, is actually called Tarot for Cats. The book is by Regen Dennis, and again, I might be mispronouncing names. And the art is by Kipling West, who is the illustrator who also did the Halloween Tarot, which I also own and love. But Tarot for Cats happens to be one of the decks that I offer for my spring quarter readings on my blog. I switch up my readings offerings on a seasonal basis. So this is one of the decks that I have available for spring anyway. So this became available through my blog. So if you get a reading from me, this is one of the decks you can choose for me to do it with. It is a major arcana only deck. So I already had it out on my desk because I've already been working with it since March for spring readings. And then in early April, our cat died, and so I started specifically drawing some cards for her, or just like around the subject of grief and loss of a cat in particular. And the card that I pulled for her, not immediately after, but like the next day after we buried her, after we laid her to rest, the card that I pulled was the Sun card from Tarot for Cats. So it's a very contented kitty resting in the sun, and I'm moving it in the stripe of shade so you can see it. Here, I'll put it over here. Very contented kitty resting in the sun, sunflowers outside the window. So I took that as a very comforting message from this deck after my cat passed away. So that is a very specific reason why I have been just doing some one card pulls with this deck a little more than usual, although it is one of my springtime decks anyway. So I did already have it out, but then especially stuff related to our kitty came up, and so I'm using it more. Another one that is kind of new, but I've had it for a little bit longer. I got this last year, I think. You all know I can't tell time at this point. But it is the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, who is Australian. So I mentioned Kipling West, the illustrator of Tarot for Cats, also did the Halloween Tarot. So I had the Halloween Tarot first, and then I decided I also want the Halloween Oracle, because I love all things Halloween. So this is another thing Laura and I were talking about recently, the Spacious Tarot, because I've been using it. I've had this open on my table, and the book has actually been sitting underneath the top of the lid out of the way, so that when I do my daily draws, I pick up the box and I flip out the deck. And then I put whatever my daily draw was. I typically put it The rest of the deck is in here face down. And then I put this on top like this. So it's usually not actually in there. But when I packed it back up to bring it out here to the porch to do this video, I tossed it right in there. I tossed the book back on top. But I have been storing the book underneath, and then I store my decks face down. So when you first get this deck, the guidebook is on top, and the deck is face up underneath it, and it's all in order. So the first thing you see is the Fool. But after I read the guidebook goes at the bottom, and I store my decks face down. And Laura had commented on that they do the same thing. And so now I'm wondering how many of you store your decks in, face up versus face down? Where do you put the guidebook if you have a box for the deck and it goes with it? Tarot for Cats actually comes in a bigger box thing, and the deck slides into the side, and the book that comes with it slides into the other side, and then the whole box kind of looks like a book or fits like a book on your shelf, but these are actually just slid into the side of it. Not all of my decks have boxes, not all of them have full-size guidebooks, and the ones that do have guidebooks, the books are not all the same size as the deck. But the Halloween Tarot is, and so it made me laugh because this is some Halloween fabric that my partner got me a while ago. I added a crochet trim to it, again with the traffic on the street making some noise there. I added a black yarn crochet trim, so this is what I wrap the deck in, and the book is at the bottom of the box. I had never really thought about it before, but that's how I store my decks, yeah. And then if you unwrap this, they're face down as well. So I store all my decks face down, and then when I shuffle them, I'm shuffling them so that I'm seeing the backs of the cards. So I'm never looking at the cards unless I'm purposely going through it looking for a card, or unless I'm reading it and I'm ready to flip a card and look at what it is, I actually made this thinking that I was going to crochet up the two sides here to make it a little pouch, like a little fold over pouch. But then I decided I kind of like having the full length, because with the size of this deck, it's actually perfect to fit a 3-card spread across. So this kind of became its own little miniature reading spread cloth as well. But it was just a scrap of fabric left over from when I did something else and added a little border to it. I just poked holes all around it with my scissors that I could then crochet into. For those of you who crochet, you'll know how that goes. You could probably do that with knitting too. I don't know how to knit, but I imagine it's much the same. So anyway, yeah, I love everything Halloween, which is why I got this deck in the first place. I used it a lot in the months right after I got it, and then I haven't used it again in a little while, but recently I decided to get it out again and just do some more 1-card pulls with it. It is the only Oracle deck that I've been working regularly with for my personal stuff. I just really like it. I think the messages tend to be really succinct and clear for me personally, and they were from day one when I first started using them, so I just really love them. There's some of the card art is featured on the back of the box there, so it's not really because of the deck's personality that I specifically wanted to work with it again now. It was just like, I haven't played with my Halloween Oracle cards in a while, let's see what they have to say for me right now. But they're not usually like a springtimey deck for me. I use them mainly in autumn and winter. But yeah, so the other 2 decks that I offer right now for spring quarter for my readings on my blog, in addition to Tarot for Cats, are the Goddess Tarot and the Celtic Messages Oracle. So I have been working with those because, as I mentioned, I have all of them out that I'm using in a given season for client readings online. I have them out, so I have been going through them. But for personal, I haven't been using the Celtic Messages Oracle for my stuff personally as much, although I did actually for a few days. I did a few specific pandemic-related 2-card spreads just a little quick overview, like instead of doing a daily draw of 1 card, I was doing daily draws of 2 cards for a while. And I used the Celtic Messages deck to do that for like a couple of days. But after that, mainly I've been playing with the Halloween Oracle, using the Spacious Tarot for my 1 card daily draws, cat related stuff. If anything, I would say the personality of the tarot for cats deck, and again, it's major arcana only. This is not a full tarot deck. This is just the 22 majors. I would say the personality of this one is just really comforting. It's cat energy. And then the last one that I've been using, another tarot deck, is actually the only one that I have. It might be the only one other than Spacious now that I have that is an indie deck. And it is the only one that I have that was truly like limited edition, and it is sold out now. And that is the Oddments Tarot by Motion Sickness of Time Travel. I did a video about this on my channel. I did an unboxing flip through. This was a gift from my friends and employers or colleagues, what do I call you guys, at the Buckland Museum, whose friend made this deck. So the creator's name is Rachel. They are known as Motion Sickness of Time Travel. They are an artist and musician out of Georgia in the United States. So I do have a video on my channel, publicly on my channel, talking about this deck and showing you this deck because it was given to me specifically to show people, because it's a limited edition deck. It is sold out now, which is really awesome for Motion Sickness of Time Travel. And so unfortunately that means no one else can get a copy of this deck right now, so it's a bit of a bummer that way. I'm like showing this cool deck that people might like and they can't necessarily get it now. But at the same time, it means that more people were able to see this deck and know that it exists and just get a little look at this person's creation. Otherwise, I normally do unboxing, flip through, first impressions of any new decks that I get exclusively on my Patreon. So just $1 a month, USD, gets access to all of that exclusive stuff, and I do those as all patrons exclusives. So any patrons that support at any level get access to those. So I did an unboxing, flip through, and first impressions video of the Spacious Tarot when I just got it. I also did one in the past when I got the Halloween Oracle, so that's on my Patreon as well. Those of you who are already in my Patreon community can go back and check that out. I actually don't remember if I did one for Tarot for Cats. Yes, I did. I did one for Tarot for Cats as well when I got that, so yeah, they're all on there. But I did this one publicly, so some of you may have seen the video where I talked about this deck, and it's really cool. So yeah, the reasons I've been using this one lately are because it's weird and I mean that in the best way. I love weird decks. I have a few decks that I consider like weird decks, and I like them, you know, and this is a weird time. It's a big weird energy time. All right, the sun's not directly in my face anymore, so I feel like I don't need these right now. Okay, we're good. We made it. Okay, it's a weird time. It's weird energy everywhere right now. So as far as I'm concerned, like, lean into that and let's use the weird decks to talk about the weirdness that's happening all around us and ask questions about it and probe into it and see how we relate to it and what we can learn from it, what we can glean from it. Not that I believe like, oh, it's a good thing that this is happening because we're learning from it. Like, no. This is not a good thing. But as long as we're here living day to day, like, what can we glean from this so that we as a people, as humanity, you know, country by country, even state by state, how can we learn from this and better prepare for the future so that shit like this doesn't happen again? Or when it does happen again, we're more prepared than we were this time, you know what I mean? So, weird energy, weird times, weird deck, right? That's basically it. So, they're super weird and I love them. I actually pulled this one the other day. as a one card reading for myself about how something specific that I'm working on in my spiritual path is going. And even with that, even if you don't know what the Two of Pentacles means traditionally, or, you know, in the standard like Rider-Waite-Smith, even if you don't know what that means, like just looking at this image, it's like trees growing out of a pentacle, and the way the artist has cut them in the collage, they look like hearts. And so to me, that's just like growing in love and, you know, compassion, and like that was just a beautiful card for me to get when asking about how I am progressing with some specific spiritual work that I'm doing right now. So yeah, you know, it's pretty good. Super weird, and I love it. Yeah, I've been having a real hard time with my motivation in general, because that's just a thing that I've been struggling with for years, right? Anxiety and depression are a thing. And then having insomnia over the past couple of years too has just kind of exacerbated that for me. It's made my schedule really weird because my sleep schedule is off. So when I'm able to make videos is kind of hit or miss. And so sometimes it's like I have this span of time during the day to make a video, but maybe I don't have the lighting. Maybe I don't have the motivation. Maybe I don't have the spoons to deal with it that day, you know? So it's been kind of a challenge figuring out when I have the time and ability in my household to make a video, as well as when do I have the mental and emotional readiness to do said video. And then now that my partner's home all the time, we share one computer, our cat just died, like just everything is so all over the place right now. So I really appreciated last week on Pagan Perspective. The topic happened to be really chill. We were just talking about our favorite traditions or decorations that we might have for this time of year. So I talked about some seasonal decor that I have for springtime, because it is spring in the northern hemisphere right now, and that's where I am. And so I kind of also wanted to do something kind of low-key for my channel this week again, because again, I'm already recording it like 3 to 4 days later than I normally would, because I'm not able to do it on my schedule right now. So I thought about, like, I could talk about the tarot decks, you know, because that's a big thing right now. I just got a new deck, so I'm working with that a lot. I'm talking about that a lot. I'm posting my card of the day pulls on my Patreon Lens story for people who check that to see. So I was like, I can just talk about the tarot decks, because that's what I've been doing a lot of, and some of my patrons were like, heck yeah, talk about that. So I did that. Thank you to those of you who said you would be interested in this video, for encouraging me to go ahead and do this as a topic. And then, yeah, you know, related stuff about cards. How do you store your decks? You know, this one just happened to come in a tin, but I don't have many other decks in tins. This is in a big old, you know, box with a flip away top. This is one of these. Wow, I forget what these are called, but I think of it as like a gift box that the lid fully removes from it. And then like this one, I just keep, if they came in a tuck box, I keep them in a tuck box. And then usually I then make a bag for each of my decks, and they go inside a bag, inside the box. Inside the box, inside a bag. Just depends on the deck. It depends on how they came packaged, if they came with a box of any kind or not. So not all of my decks have tuck boxes, so they're just in bags that I made for them. So yeah, how do you store your decks? Are there any decks in particular that you have felt like you really want to use lately? Or even just, you know, tarot compared to oracle. Are you using more tarot lately or more oracle? I started personally reading more oracle decks, and currently I'm working with more tarot decks than oracle, which is kind of a flip-flop situation for me as I finally started studying tarot more as a format in the past few years. I've really like delved into that more. So that's a thing. So yeah, if you want to talk tarot stuff in the comments, that's awesome. Thank you very much for watching and or listening to this video. And maybe I'll talk about more tarot stuff in the next coming weeks, just because it's pretty low-key and pretty easy to do, and I feel like there's an endless amount of things that we can talk about with them. So yeah, thanks for watching and or listening. I will see you when I see you. And you can also pop over to Pagan Perspective. I make Tuesday videos there every week, except the last pretty full week of every month, which is Subs Week, and the substitute hosts cover those videos. So yeah, until I see you wherever, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.